Yo, what up everybody? I'm Dave Miranda and this is episode 47 of Just Give Me 5. I hope you guys are doing well, continue to be amazing. We got a really great show lined up for you today. But if you guys caught episode 46, you saw we had none other than the one and only Junior. And let me tell you, that really took me back, because Mama Used to Say is by far one of the greatest records, in my opinion, to ever exist. And so to see the man who made the record speaking on it, and just talking how the concept came about I just thought that was awesome, and just nothing but love and respect to Junior for taking the time to be on our show, and to just make sure you guys watch episode 46 so you can see everything that I'm talking about. All right. But today's guest has been an absolute joy to the Arizona radio scene for so many years now. We're gonna talk about how she got her start in radio, especially with Mega. We're gonna talk about the Arizona Kidney Foundation that she's a part of. We're also gonna talk about some memorable moments and much more. So ladies and gentlemen, without further ado, I present to you, Jackie Morales.
Hi, my name is Jackie Morales, and all I'm saying is just give me 5. Oh man, I'm gonna say back in 2000, I remember I was listening to the radio. That's something that I loved doing back in the day. And I just remember listening to a commercial that came on and it said, "How would you like to work in radio?" And at the time it was so crazy because just a few days before that, I was in deep thought, like, what do I want to do with my life? What kind of career do I want to go and take? And something that I can show my kids, like, you can do what you want, you can go after whatever goals and dreams. And nothing interested me. I was just like, I don't really want to go to school for anything unless I really have a desire for it. So I was really into like the arts, interior design, fashion, dancing. I thought growing up that I was going to be like this famous dancer and be a backup dancer for Janet Jackson or something. So that was like my main thing. But, unfortunately it didn't kind of play out that way. But when I heard the commercial, it took me back to my childhood and I started to think about like the days that I would lock myself in the bathroom and I would take my brother's boombox in there and a handful of my dad's country tapes, and I learned how to record over them. So where you put the little tissue at the top of the tape, and I can record my voice, and I would just stay in there forever and I would just talk about who knows what. I would write out commercials, I would record myself with the commercials and stuff. And so I was like, I know I have it in me to work in radio, right? And then I started to think about like my upbringing and how my dad raised us. I grew up in a family of musicians, so listening to all kinds of music. We would go from like Juan Gabriel to Fleetwood Mac to, Diana Ross. Yeah, very diverse. So just so like many different genres of music. And so it's in our blood. And, I do have a brother that plays a saxophone. So he's very talented in that. I have a younger sister who's a singer. And I'm like, I can't sing for the life of me. I cannot play an instrument. I did play the clarinet in high school in band, but I wasn't very good at it. So, but I was like, I do have the personality, like an outgoing personality, the clown of the family, if you will. And so I just remember calling my mom and I was like, I heard this commercial. Do you think it's something that I can do? And she was just so encouraging. And she's like, you could do anything that you want to do. She's like, follow your dreams. I had 2 little ones at the time. I had 2 of my boys. And I was just nervous leaving them, but I was like, this is for them. So I want to just try it out. So I took a tour of the Academy of Radio and TV and fell in love. And that's where it all started for me back in 2000. Yeah. Oh my gosh, so this is kind of a funny story. When I was in school at the time, my family was visiting from out of town, and it must have been like Cinco de Mayo or some kind of fiestas that were going on in downtown Phoenix. And they wanted, my dad and my brother wanted to go and see War or Tierra or Tower Power. One of them was performing. And and so we're going down there. And I just remember walking in and we turned the corner And I see, like, for me, it was like a oh moment, you know, because I saw Mega, and at the time it was a sister station, which was Energy 92.7. Yeah. And so I was just like, oh my gosh, this is like where I'm going to be in the future. That's where I saw myself working. Right. And so one of my family members went to talk to Alex. At the time, there was like no social media, so we didn't know what on-air personalities look like, but they were able to find Alex and was telling them like, hey, my sister's going to radio broadcasting school. This is what she wants to do for a living. And so he eventually came and talked to me, and he was like, so this is what you want to do? And I said, yeah. And he's like, well, why don't you come to the station and we'll, you know, I'll give you a tour and maybe you can get started in promotions or something. And so I was like, okay, but also like I was very disciplined with myself and I knew what I wanted. And I was just like, I just had a feeling like once I step into radio, I just felt like it was going to take off for me. And I wanted to prepare myself. So I told him, I said, give me a year. Yeah. And he looked at me so crazy and he's like, what? And I said, yeah, give me a year and then I'll come in and we'll talk and, you know, we'll see what will happen then. Right. And so he's like, all right. And I don't think that he really thought that I was serious after I said that to him. So then I waited a year. I stopped by the station back when it was in Scottsdale. It was off of Stetson Drive. Right. Yep. And I was walking in, and as I was walking in, Kent Brentlinger, the owner, was walking out. And he was so kind, and he's like, can I help you? And I just said, I'm here to see Alex. And so he walked me up, and Alex looked at me, and he goes, you weren't kidding. He's like, you really did wait a year? And I was like, yeah. So it was so cool, though, because that's where I met Lisa D. And Lisa D is one of my, like, all-time best friends to this day. I just talked to her a few days ago, and I'm just so grateful for her because she taught me everything. She taught me how to run the board. She taught me how to do call-ins, how to run Vox Pro. She would stay with me overnight, and she was even there for like my very first like when I got on nights and I was doing Between the Sheets. She was there to support me, and I just have so much love for her because you really don't come across a lot of people in radio that are willing to take that time. And she was just so selfless, and she, no ego. Yeah, exactly. And she, like, you know, was that person for me that wanted to see me win, that wanted to help me and help me grow. Absolutely. And so I love her so much for doing that. And yeah. And our birthdays are a day apart. Hers is May 16th and mine's May 17th. So, and so that was my journey with Mega, and then it came full circle. You know, years later, Alex called me back, and I was like, cool, you know, let's try it. And I've been with Mega. I came back to Mega about 5 years ago in December. Yeah. Oh my gosh.
Down memory lane, right?
That one's it's so hard because so many years, right? But the top three that come to me, I'm going to say the number one was the launching of Latino Vibe. Do you remember Latino Vibe?
Met you.
Yeah, that's exactly where we met. It was so cool because it was the first reggaeton station in Arizona, and Manic Hispanic was the one who hooked me up. He was like, you know, they're looking for all new on-air personalities. They're looking for middays, and so I met with them. And, you know, they're just like, yeah, they offered me the job right away. And I was like, cool, this is really awesome. But I was so new into radio that I really didn't know what I was about to step into. And now I can really appreciate how big it was. And so I remember the day that we launched, we had a countdown. AL3 was the one who spun the first record to get us going. And I wish I remember what record he spun. I know he remembers because he's got a really good memory, so he could probably tell you, but we did the whole countdown, and it was the funnest times in radio. Like, again, like social media wasn't huge back then. So you would have like listeners coming out to meet you because they wanted to know what you look like. They would come with gifts. I remember I was hosting Tropicana at the Papago Plaza in Scottsdale. Yes. And that place was just cracking.
Oh boy.
It was cracking. I mean, it was so packed that like when I was ready to get going, they would have to call security to walk me out because I couldn't get out, and they had me in the back. And
the guys loved you.
So. It was fun. It was a good time. We had a good, like, every Friday night. I mean, it was just awesome. And Worked with DJ Shy. You know, he was like DJing out there, and we had some really great times. And just everything. Like, I met some really cool people, a lot of people that may not be in radio here in Arizona, but are still doing it around, you know, the States and stuff, which is really cool. So building those relationships was awesome. And just the experience altogether was so memorable that when I think about radio, I'm thinking that was a time to be in radio. Yeah, definitely. That was one of my memorable moments in radio. The second one, I'm gonna say just having the opportunity to interview Mac Miller, which was huge for me because, you know, I didn't know who he was at the time. I just remember getting the phone call and they're like, hey, it's a last minute interview. Can you get here within an hour time frame, I think it was. And I was like, well, who is this guy? Like, I don't know who he is. I'm gonna bomb this interview. And so on the way, they're telling me about him, about his music. His show was sold out that night. So yeah. And I'm just like, well, who is this guy? So I'm calling my oldest son and I'm like, do you know who Mac Miller is? And so he's kind of sharing some things with me. And then so I get to Celebrity Theater and I had the chance to interview him in his tour bus. So I was so nervous, but he was so kind and so humble, and he just made me feel comfortable right off the bat. So we had a great conversation. I asked him about his show, and he was just excited that it was sold out, and we talked about his album a little bit. I asked him if he had a stylist, you know, because the way he dressed was just so cool, you know, and he's like, no, never that. Like, he's like, I dress myself all the time. And so it was really awesome. It was just, like, the interview went so smooth, one of my favorite interviews of all time. So that's definitely on my list too. Yeah, absolutely, yeah. And then the third one, I'm gonna say just meeting the listeners has been a huge impact in my life because, you know, I get to do what I love because of our listeners. And I just hold such a special place in my heart for them because, you know, I'm doing what I love, and then when I meet them, you don't realize the kind of impact that you have on their life, right? I'm just going to work and I'm talking and I'm, you know, sharing things with them, and
But it's more to them.
yeah, and I've met some really like impactful people that have just like been in tears, or, you know, are just telling you how much you inspire them. And I've made some really meaningful relationships, like to where I'm friends with them to this day, like from Latino Vibe to today, you know, they still reach out to me. And so it's so special to just know that you have that impact. And so, you know, now when I'm on radio, it's just like so meaningful. Like, I don't know whose day I'm gonna make today, but that's a part of my job and what I want to do. And just, I tell my kids, if you can just impact that one person, you know, or just bring a smile to that one person's life, or make someone laugh, or make someone's day. And so I'm able to do that, you know, every day on air and call it my job.
Right.
So that's the three that I would say are the top most memorable times for me in radio. Man, this is gonna be a tough one to answer because my dad was diagnosed with kidney disease. He had kidney failure in both kidneys years ago. And it really came in and it rocked like all of our lives, like me and my family. And we're just so shook because we didn't know like what we were about to step into and how we were gonna be there to support my dad. And so it changed everything. It was a whole completely new lifestyle. My family had to relocate from Douglas to Tucson because I was born and raised in Douglas. And so they had to move to Tucson because of the specialists, doctors and stuff. And then my dad started on dialysis, which was really hard, you know, for him. And, you know, he was on dialysis for so long that we had got the call saying like, he's gonna need a transplant soon. And so we were really concerned about that. And so my mom was like, I'm gonna get tested. I'm gonna go through all the tests that I need to go through. And thanks be to God, yeah, she was a match. So I'm like, talk about a soulmate, right? Like, because that's really not common. And so, you know, they went through the surgery process, which was hard to have both of your parents in surgery and stuff like that. So we went through that and it was successful. And so everything went great. And then 1 year he got really, really sick. and he was in the hospital. Well, we didn't know, but he was in the hospital for months. He was in an induced coma. At one point, we lost him, and they had to resuscitate him. And, you know, he went through a long process, and they had given him a 1% chance to live. And so we were pretty much like saying our goodbyes, but my family were very faithful. Like, we just put all of our trust in the Lord. And so we prayed like we've never prayed before. And they said even if he survived it, they said that he would be in a vegetative state. And so it was just really tough. But, you know, my dad's tough, and he pulled through, and he survived it, and he was not in a vegetative state. He, you know, learned how to walk again, and next thing I know, he's driving around all over the place. And
God bless.
so, yeah, but the downfall of that was he lost the kidney my mom had given him. So he had to go through another surgery, which was, my older sister came into play. She got tested. We all were going to go through the process, but she was first. And so then we went through that process again, and was successful. And between my mom and my sister, we had my dad for like an extra 14 years. Yeah, so it was really awesome. And the kidney walk was like one of my dad's favorite all-time things to go to. He would look forward to it every single year. He was dancing out there. His favorite was a Howler, the coyote. He was always filming him on his iPad. And so it was just something he really enjoyed to do. And I'm thankful for my friend that had reached out to me, because at the time she was working at the Kidney Foundation, and she asked me to host one of their walks.
Nice.
And so I was like, absolutely. And, you know, ever since then, you know, I've been a part of the committee and stuff. So that was back in 2010. And yeah, so my dad, we ended up losing him almost 3 years ago. And but we are just so strong in the community when it comes to the Kidney Foundation of Arizona. So we're so thankful for them. And even though he's not with us like in physical form, he's there spiritually.
He's here
like
now.
Absolutely.
He's proud of you, man.
Yeah, he is. And so it's an honor to be a part of that, and to continue to celebrate my dad's life, because, you know, he's the heart of our family and continues to be through us, through his children and his grandchildren. So I love you, Dad. You know, for a while that question would have been really hard for me to answer, but I listen to it differently now, and I feel it differently now on a whole different level, because I think about God, like, first and foremost, and his unconditional love for all of us, and just how much he loves us. It's beyond our understanding. It's just so hard to even like grasp the love that he has for us. And it's made it so easy for me to receive it. Because of his love, he's surrounded me with such amazing people in my life, relationships that have been, you know, in my life. And I'm just so thankful for it. It's almost like there's no word. It's more of a profound feeling that I feel in my heart. And I like to have that space and create that space in my heart to receive it. And it's just, you know, like I said, it's more of a feeling than a way that I can explain, you know, the love that I'm surrounded by, from my family and my children to community to, like I said, building relationships to being here. It's allowed me to really honor the space that I'm in a gratitude space, to be in an open heart posture of expectation to receive that love from God. And it's all around us, you know, just to practice to be present in just being here, like at the park, right? And just really appreciating the nature and everything that's around us. And the birds were chirping all out earlier, which, you know, sometimes people don't stop to listen to things like that. And so I think that love and receiving or having that special feeling is just always constantly all around us. So, you know, I've learned to shy away from questions like that, to really come from a place of receiving it. So I'm incredibly thankful for it. first and foremost, I want to thank you guys, Dave and Jimmy, for what you guys do. I love watching your videos. A lot of my friends that I've worked in radio, you've interviewed, and it's just really cool to just like to watch, to be let in to their lives. Everyone has a story, and to me that like interests me so much, like to listen to everyone's stories, and just you're just like never know how much you can relate to them and what they're going through, and you just don't feel alone sometimes. So I'm thankful for what you guys do. To my kids that carry me, yeah. I'm like, whoo. Esteban, Mac, and Jez, my boys, they are my inspiration every single day. They're what gets me going. Yeah. One second.
That's fine.
And with them, I got 2 bonus daughters, Michaela and Jaden, so I'm very thankful for that. My family, my mom, for always supporting me and having my back. Of course, you know, our listeners, without you, I wouldn't be able to do what I love to do, so I'm so thankful for you. Every single person that I have ever worked with in radio, there's so many that I don't want to leave anyone out, but if you worked with me in radio, I'm thankful for you, and I appreciate you so much. And of course, my family over at Sierra Age Broadcasting, I have like some really, like they're my family, they're my writers. They remind me of, you know, why I started in radio, because for a second it was a little bit crazy there, but you know, being around a family like I am around Sierra Age, I'm so thankful for too. And you know, my mentors and all of that, and I just don't want to forget anybody. I just, you know, but I'm just 100% thankful. So yeah, that's it.
And there you have it. Man, nothing but love and respect to Jackie. You know, I've known Jackie since the Latino Vibe days, back in like 04, 05 era. And let me tell you, she has always been the same. You know, just a good person. You know, she never switched up. You know, and you need more people like that, you know, especially in the industry. So, you know, just nothing but love and respect to you, my friend, you know, and I'm proud of you. You should be proud of yourself. You've done a great job over the years. I know your father's watching down, and I know he's proud of you as well. Believe that. So I just wish you nothing but continued success, and, you know, let's keep it going. Make sure you guys are following her on social media. And shout out to my brother Jimmy Nelson on that camera. Make sure you guys subscribe to the YouTube channel. Don't forget to like and comment and share. All right. Well, this was another one for the books. Hope you guys enjoyed it as much as I did. And till next time, stay tuned, stay blessed, stay healthy, and just give me 5, y'all.